How's it going, guys? I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Sega Dreamcast and then show you some awesome Sega Dreamcast pickups that I got in the local classifieds today. Now, the Sega Dreamcast holds a special place in my heart. It's got some pretty heavy nostalgic value to me. I'm not really a big Sega fanboy per se, but this was the main Sega system that I had. I had a Super Nintendo and I had an N64, and then I got a Sega Dreamcast. And when I got the Sega Dreamcast, it was the only time I got a system when I was a kid growing up that was it was only my system. I didn't have to share it with siblings. And I remember I got it the Christmas after it came out, and I was the only kid in the neighborhood with the Sega Dreamcast. And so I was the cool kid on the block, and everybody envied my Sega Dreamcast at the time. And then PS2 came out, and that crushed my dreams. But of course, I had to get a PS2 as well. So, anyways, some of the Sega Dreamcast classics that I had growing up that I can remember. I've had, of course, Sonic Adventure. I had Shenmue. I had House of the Dead 2 with the light gun. I had Crazy Taxi. I had Jet Grind Radio. I had did I say Resident Evil Code Veronica? This game here was awesome. Man, I could not believe the cinematics and the graphics, everything about it, the gameplay, everything was awesome on this. Capcom sure did deliver some hot titles for the Dreamcast. It's a shame other companies didn't support it as much as Capcom did, but man, Capcom really unloaded some great titles on this system. Anyways, unfortunately, after I got my PS2 and my Xbox, a long time ago, I sold my original Dreamcast, but I sold it to my brother, who actually had it still, and I'd say 5-6 months ago or so, I actually bought my original Sega Dreamcast back, and I'm never selling it again, so I got it back, and at the time I got it back from my brother, he had about 6 games, so I got that with 6 games, and since about July of last year when I started really collecting, this is the total amount here of Dreamcast games that I've acquired since that time. I have about 30 complete and about 5 or so loose, and it's just not really easy to find Sega stuff in general in my area. Sega Genesis is probably the most common, and usually it's just the cartridge. So Sega Genesis in boxes, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, all that stuff, Sega Masters, all that's pretty rare in my area. And so I've seen Sega Dreamcast come up on the local classifieds quite frequently, actually, but I see them with a system and maybe 2 controllers, a memory card, and like 5 games, and half the games are sports games, and the other half are like Crazy Taxi and Ready to Rumble boxing, stuff like that. So once in a blue moon, I'll see a Sega Dreamcast on the classifieds, and it'll have a bunch of games with it. And I passed on this last one, and it was just a little too pricey. It had about 35 games, and they were asking like $150. I mean, they had Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in there, though. They had several really, really good titles, but it was just too much. I couldn't see myself forking that much money out. But I've been keeping my eyes out, and I really wanted to add to the Sega Dreamcast collection. So recently, somebody had an ad up, and here is the new items that I have received for the Dreamcast. And this guy, he had I paid a bit of money, but you know what, for what I've got and how I've been doing things as far as my collection goes, here's a little trick that I do sometimes. I've done it with Super Nintendo games. I've done it with Nintendo, you know, almost games from any system I've done this. Basically, if somebody puts a big lot of games in a system up on classifieds, and you can really evaluate what things are worth, and even though you might have half of the stuff that's posted on that ad, sometimes it's worth just buying the lot of stuff, taking the half that you need, and then selling off the half that you already have. And that's precisely what I did here. So I'm going to tell you right now, I paid $85, okay? So that's a bit of money for you know, some video game stuff. But let me show you what I got here. So I've got 5 controllers, 3 original and 2 off-brand. That black one's kind of weird. It's got a built-in rumble pack. I've got the system, of course. I've got 2 memory cards, and this was really nice to have. It's the microphone. For the Dreamcast, it's used in the game Seaman. It's a really interesting game. And then, unfortunately, it's an RF that came with it, not an AV. We got the power, and we got a light gun. So that's the hardware that I got. 5 controllers, 2 memory cards, microphone, cables, and light gun. And then we got 30 games, and I've already separated them. These are ones that I do not have, so these are going to be the ones I'm keeping. And these are ones I already have, okay? So let me go ahead and show you what I got as far as the games go. I got Virtua Tennis, Mortal Kombat Gold, Atari Anniversary Collection, Virtual On, Seaman, it's like a disc, like a Game Shark Codebreaker disc, Plasma Sword, Psychic Force 2012, Time Stalkers, Sonic Shuffle, Slave Zero. This right here is the crown jewel. It is Power Stone 2, which is a very hard to find, very sought after game. And it's complete. Last Blade 2, Deep Fighter, NFL Blitz Loose, Spawn Loose, and an egg game. It's Elemental Gimmick Gear Loose with, you know, an old GameStop case. So those are ones I'm going to be adding to the collection, new ones. These are ones I already had. So Evolution, Sega Smash Pack, NBA 2K, Shenmue, Space Channel 5. The reason why the case looks weird is because it's that holographic case cover. So it's not really showing up all that great on the camera. Blue Stinger, Crazy Taxi, World Series Baseball, Jet Grind Radio, Sonic Adventure, NFL 2K, Ready to Rumble Boxing, and House of the Dead. So, I spent $85. Now let me go through this, alright, how I look at this. When I saw this ad, I was thinking, okay, he originally wanted $100. So I got him to $85, and then I looked at it and I'm like, okay, I really wanted a handful of these games. Power Stone stuck out, and this right here is, if any of you have looked at the prices of this game, to find one complete, you're not going to pay less than $40 typically. There's a used game website that has this, and they charge $47, and it's always sold out. I've seen it once at a used game store locally, and it was gone for like $50 in a couple days. So it's a really highly sought after game, hard to get. Probably the best multiplayer game on the Dreamcast. And then this one here, this is like, it's a fighter made by SNK called The Last Blade 2. This is, you're looking at least in a complete condition, good shape, $20 at least. You know, and then we got this one, Seaman. Seaman here, unfortunately, I only got the manual, no back art. But the microphone is the key here. The microphone is hard to get. When you find Seaman by itself, it's not really much money. It's like $8-10, you know. But the microphone's like $15, okay? So added value together, give or take $20 to $25 retail, okay? Now, The other stuff, some of the games are real cheap, some of them aren't. Mortal Kombat Gold's a decent price, value-wise. I don't know about all these specifically, but, obviously some are real cheap, some are more. And then we got my extras. So this is what I plan to do here. And this is a good way to add to your collection by buying a big package and splitting stuff up and selling stuff that's extra in a way that you think you'll get the most money out of it. And how I'm going to do it in this particular situation is I already got 2 of these, so I'm going to bundle this light gun here with House of the Dead 2. Alright, so I'm going to take House of the Dead 2, bundle with that light gun. And through selling games in the past and knowing prices and whatnot, I'm really positive I could get at very least $15, and I'm quite sure I could get $20 if I sit on it for a week and a half. So for those 2, 15 to 20 bucks, okay? And then these here. So I don't need a system. I've already got a couple of those. So what I do is I take let's see here. I take a couple controllers. I take this weird controller, I take the Dreamcast, and then one of the memory cards, and I could very easily sell 3 controllers, the system, a memory card, the cables, and those games. I'm really positive I could get $50 pretty easily, but what I would probably do, considering I don't need the cash immediately, I might take a couple games out and try to start it at $50 and see if I get any luck. And then if I don't, then I'll add a couple games in. Basically, I could sell this if I get the sticker off, get a little Goo Gone, make it look nice. Shenmue, somebody will want this complete in good shape. I could probably get $10 for it locally. And then if you're looking at that, if I could pull out $50 right there, which I'm pretty sure if I refresh my ads long enough, somebody will look at this, they'll be like, oh, Crazy Taxi, Sonic Adventure, Ready to Rumble Boxing, freaking Space Channel 5, Jet Set Radio, and a few sports games. You got Smash Pack, some random horror game, but the system, 3 controllers, and a memory card for $50. Then let's look at this again. So say I get $50 for that. Say I get $50 for that, $10 for my Shenmue, and then say I get $15 for those 2. Okay, so that's $25 for the Shenmue and the gun with House of the Dead, and then another $50 there. So that is $75. And I'm $75 out of my $85 investment. And for $10 that I spent, I got a memory card, 2 controllers, and 17 new games to add to my collection. Including some really good titles like Power Stone, The Microphone with Seaman, Last Blade, some other ones that are pretty good, It's awesome because over the past year, prior to this lot, I've gotten about 35 Dreamcast games since July of last year. But right here, I'm adding another 17 games to that 35 games in just one go, okay? And I'm really certain I'll be able to make most of my money back. It's a matter of really evaluating what you can split up, what you can sell, and then refreshing your classifieds ad every couple days. And trust me, it works. I mean, that's how I've gotten some select titles in here. I've gotten my Battletoads and Battle Maniacs. I was looking everywhere for that, but I bought an entire lot of Super Nintendo stuff just for that game, and then I resold the lot and made like $10 off the lot, and then got that game on top of that, and that game's like a really hard to find game, and it's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. So It's just a little trick I wanted to share with you guys and show you some of my Dreamcast stuff that I got. Yeah, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys later.